Good morning. Lesson 6. Super easy today. Everything's starting to come together. Can it kindly let the dog out, please? Okay. So in the first question, what you need to remember is that we have figured out that the area of a triangle's area is base times height divided by 2. Just keep that in mind. Or base times height divided by 2. Whatever one you like better. It means the exact same thing. Okay? So in the first question, you've got a triangle where the base is 4 and the height is also 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So they show you this triangle. They want you to figure out what the area is. But what they want you to do is make it into a parallelogram first, because a parallelogram is basically just a rectangle where we call it base times height instead of height, length and width. So they want you to double this triangle and make it into a parallelogram. So from this corner to this corner, it goes over 2 lines. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then back down, and then this corner goes over 2 lines. So I know I've got my perfect parallelogram here. So there's this half and this half, right? So if I'm figuring out the area of this parallelogram, I need to go area equals base times height, and I know that it's 1, 2, 3, 4 across, and 1, 2, 3, 4 up. 4 times 4 is 16. So if the area of this whole thing is 16, the area of half of it is 8. So half of the 16 is 8. Go do question 1. They're going to ask you to do the same thing in question 2, but you have to draw the triangle, the extra triangle on the parallelogram this time. So do the same thing I did. Start out with the count of the base, go up to the top. In this case, you're going to be actually working that way because the parallelogram's leaning that way in the other one. But draw the other triangle in and figure out the area of the parallelogram and then cut it in half to find the area of the triangle. So go do questions 1 and 2. Pause the video. Okay. Question 3. The base and height of the triangles above are the same as the base and height of the parallelograms. Write a formula for the area of a triangle using the base and height of the triangle. So the hint is, how are the triangles in questions 1 and 2 related to the areas of the parallelogram? They're related to the parallelograms in that they're half. So as we've been doing for the last 3 days, area of a triangle is base times height. Figure out the area of the parallelogram, and then I divide it in half. Divide by 2. You may also write it as area equals base times height divided by 2. That's how I like to write it, but both ways are equally right. No worries. Okay? Pause the video, go do question 3. Okay, question 4. Show how you would calculate the area of the triangle in question 1 using your formula. So you're just going to take your base times height divided by 2, substitute in the numbers from question 1 for how wide the base is, how tall the height is in question 1, and solve it. So, and remember, order of operations says that you have to do the brackets first. So you solve this piece, then divide it by 2. Go do question 4. Okay, question 5. You're going to do the exact same thing you've been doing. All you're doing is substituting in numbers, so I'll do the first one with you. The base is 6 centimeters. The height is 2 centimeters. So I always start with my formula. Area is base times height divided by 2. So I'm going to go 6 times 2. 6 is my base, 2 is my height. 6 times 2, I'm putting those back in brackets, divided by 2. 6 times 2 is 12, divided by 2. We're only doing one bite at a time. I start with my formula, I substitute in my numbers, I solve the first bite. Now I'm going to do my last bite. 12 divided by 2 is 6. We know that it's centimeters, so you have to include the units and make sure that it's squared, okay? Go do question 5. You should be able to get through those no problem. Okay, question 6. Draw a scalene triangle and find its area. You need to remember, scalene, Gage would tell you what it means if he was here. Scalene means no equal sides. So it's a crazy triangle, an ugly triangle. You know, you can have a short side, a super long side. That's a scalene. None of the sides are equal, okay? And I would just give my triangle some measurements. Maybe this is 2, and maybe this is 5. Maybe it's 6. I don't know. Maybe it's 6. It looks like it's about 3 times longer. And then this is shorter, so let's make this 5, right? And we'll say these are all centimeters. Okay? Now, the problem is I need the height of my triangle, and I didn't draw it on graph paper, right? So let's say that the height, which would be here, that's the highest point, and I drew it with a 90-degree corner, roughly. Let's say that that height, well, this would be longer than the height. So let's say that this is 1.5 centimeters. The height is 1.5. I know my base is 6. So I'm going to start with my formula, area equals base times height, divided by 2. Now, if you happen to have graph paper, that's fine, draw it on that. If you don't, just draw it on a piece of paper with a ruler. If you don't even have that, just guess like I did, because we're just practicing the formula, okay? So base times height, so my base is 6, my height is 1.5, and I'm going to divide that by 2. So 6 times 1 is 6, and half of 6 is 3. So 6 times 1.5 would be 9. And I'm going to divide that by 2, which would give me 4.5 centimeters squared would be my area in that triangle. But you're going to make up your own and see if you can make it work as well. Oh, I forgot. They wanted us to take a median, like to cut it in half in this one. I think so that you end up with 2 equally sized triangles. I think I'm gonna go, you can choose any side to draw the median from, and where would it, where would it cut the triangle in half, right? So I could go from here, and then I'd have to match up with this corner. So I'm guessing, right? Now I could also go from here and match up with that corner. So I need halfway across this line. So say it's about here, about half. And then I go straight to that corner. So the triangle here and the triangle here would have the exact same area because I cut it in half. If I went from this side, well, this side would be shorter, so the area, so I guess I would have to, so the halfway mark would be here, and I'd draw it to the tip there. If I went from this side, the halfway mark would be there, and it would be a crazy looking thing because I'd cut it like that. Okay? So find the halfway point of any of your sides, and then connect it with the corner opposite, the vertex that's opposite your line, okay? So if it was something like this, I'd find halfway here and go there. If it was something here, I'd find halfway there and go there. If it was this side, I'd find halfway here and go there, okay? So find your median and then do your measurements, and it asks you, how do you know that when you split it into the two smaller triangles, what do you know about the areas? Well, if I started from the halfway point and went to the other vertex, I know I cut the triangle in half. So what you know is that they're going to be equal, okay? That's it for lesson 6. I'm gonna do lesson 7 now as well, so that that was pretty short, so you could probably bang through 2 lessons today. Your choice, but they're both going to be there. See you in a bit.